Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Success Mindset with Puyaganyan. Yes, that's me, your host, Industry Hall of Famer, and I'm excited to share with you another episode this week. Thousands have asked for me to make this content available to the public, and now you're getting it. I'm sure, like always, your mind will be blown away, so lean in, pay attention, and let's grow together. Who's ready? All right, we're going to kick this off. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wealth Building Wednesday for the beautiful, incredible, momentous month of May. So there's been a lot of content that I feel so many people have gotten, especially from me over the last, let's call it 30 days. Many of you plugged into a huge 4-hour masterclass training that I went through and really got the best of the best that I've learned over my career of being a student of some of the greatest. Then there's a ton of you other overachievers that also qualified to be a part of a Breakfast of Champions training that I did, going through new content that I've never shared before. And I've learned a lot through that experience, and I've refined it, and I hope to be able to bring it back out and train it at some point in the future. But needless to say, you have to keep your eye on the prize. You have to always remember the North Star and why it is that you're doing what you're doing in your business, just like other areas of your life. You know, you have to keep in mind the reasons you go out there and do what you do in your health or your body. There's reasons why you do what you do when it comes to your relationship. So we have to keep those reasons in front of us so that way it burns that fire even hotter. Just like a small fire creates small heat, small goals create small motivation. So how can we go out there and dream build on that on a consistent basis? But what I felt was important for us to talk about was action. Because at this point, I feel we have everything we need in front of us in order to go out there and successfully build this business. Knowing that the action steps needed are there, the things that I think is important for you to step forward when doing these action steps, there's also a little bit of confidence, right? Now, I don't think people are born with confidence. I can assure you it is something that you build over a very consistent, repetitious cycle of time. And I can also assure you, having been in the minds of so many successful entrepreneurs around the world, you know, confidence is one of those things that we all at some point have to learn how to strengthen as a muscle inside of our body. And the easiest way for me to kind of like explain confidence is your ability, okay, to experience a negative emotion, right? Confidence is your willingness to experience a negative emotion, such as rejection. That's not like a positive experience in most of our lives, right? Such as discipline. For most of us, that's not like the most amazing experience or discipline experience inside of our lives. So what I believe confidence equals is it's that condition inside the mind, which is the result of you being able to realize that there's nothing that would hold you back from going out there and achieving success. I can assure you, when I got started in my old traditional corporate America career, or even in my first direct sales type of experience in business, I didn't step into that experience with 100% confidence that I got this. But through showing up, plugging into the training, reading the books, associating with people that had the qualities that I wanted, I was able to learn that almost like a little bit of a chameleon, right? So this is where you need to be able to go out there and create this conviction and determination inside you that nothing's going to prevent or interfere from you going out there and making this happen, right? And that is sometimes a thing you have to repetitiously tell yourself over and over again. Right? There's nothing that I can come and do, and I can't come and like inject like a confidence shot inside of you. It's like I said, a muscle that you build consistently. It's like going to that gym and you're trying to, do that, curl or whatever the case is. You start out with the lighter weight and then it builds and it builds and it measures up. The thing that I also think is important for you to realize when you're going out there and taking action on these activities, that perfect doesn't exist. And the truth is, it's not about doing it right. It's about just doing the activity itself. I can assure you, when it says 2 exposures a day, there's days that I go over and there's some days that I don't get it done. I don't beat myself up, right? I'm very graceful with myself. I don't beat myself up. I am my number one cheerleader. So let's keep on this conversation about confidence. If you were to measure confidence for yourself on, let's say, a scale of 1 to 10, how would you level or measure that for you? Now, I don't think anybody's ever a 10, because I don't think everybody's ever that like confident or good. And I don't think anybody should ever consider themselves a 1. But where would you be on a scale of 1 to 10? So again, it's not about where you start, it's about what you're working towards and building towards. So we've got people all over the spectrum. The thing that I want you to ask yourself is, now that you know on a scale of 1 to 10 where you fall, okay, remember, this is your willingness to experience negative emotions again. I can assure you that brave people still hear the whispers of fear, right? The only person that you need to focus on being better than is yourself and who you were yesterday. So when you've got this scale of 1 to 10, and if you're a 4, what I want to ask you is, what needs to happen in order for you to move that 4 to a 5 or that 4 to a 6? For those of you that are a 7, what would you need to do? How would you need to show up in order for you to move that 7 to maybe an 8 or a 9? Now, what's happening is you're giving yourself a recipe, so you know what are the action steps that I need to take to grow forward. Okay? You know, there's this meme that that's been circulated around, and it's about like Michael Phelps. You know, I believe he's won the most gold medals on the planet. And, you know, in his race, he's in his lane swimming forward, but then the person that comes in second place is literally pictured comparing himself, looking at where Michael Phelps is. And that one comparison could have easily, you know, saved him that race. And that's why when you get on these calls and you see someone else at an 8, or you see someone else, like, they most likely, and I'm going to say this at 99.9% certainty, they didn't start there. They grew into there. They went through their experiences to get there. So you're going to have people that are high performing. You're going to find people that are successful. You're going to find people who are, you know, happy. And what you want to do is you want to pick up on those things and begin executing them yourself. You want to start writing out, who is that ideal person that you want to show up as when you grow into an 8, when you grow into a 9 on your journey forward. And I hope that you realize that that's available to you as you continue to show up. One of the most important habits, and this is a part that I took away from the Breakfast of Champions that we had, is one of the most important habits that you can develop is feeding your mind positivity. Feeding your mind something that motivates you, feeding your mind something positive. It's the word that comes to mind before you go out there and take action. Like, don't go into doing these 2 exposures a day, be like, I've been doing these 2 exposures a day, let's see if it works today. I want you to motivate yourself. I want you to change your mindset, get a checkup from the neck up before you do the 2 exposures, before you go do the, you know, 3 pages of, the 3 follow-ups a day, before you go and construct the verbiage that you're going to broadcast out into the universe. It's not about the how, it's about it's how you do the how. It's the emotion, it's the vibrancy, it's the energy you do the activity with that makes a huge impact. You know, if the farmer goes out there and plants the seeds thinking, this is never going to yield me any crops, this is never going to yield me any fruit, the chances are it's not going to work. And I believe the same is true for our business. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So if you want something to change inside your business, if you want something to change inside your body, if you want something to change in maybe another area of your life, or if you want to achieve a new goal, what you need to do is you need to shift your perception on the inner side first. How do you perceive your business? Do you describe it in a negative way, or do you describe it in a positive way? How do you describe your team, in a negative way or in a positive way? How do you describe your body, in a negative way or in a positive way? How do you describe your relationships with people? What an inner, our words is a representation of what's going on internally. Okay? So I want to shift gears and talk about discipline for a second. Self-discipline is the ability to be able to make yourself do what you know you need to do, or what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. And I think a big part of that is being optimistic again as you go out there and doing the activity, right? The quality of your thinking has an enormous impact on the strength of not just your immune system, but also in the energy that communicates out to your prospects and to your future team members, okay? Or brand partners that you're gonna bring on board, okay? The more optimistic you are, the more strong and the more resilient your mind is when you're doing the consistent activity. Because I can tell you, I've done these 30, 40, almost 100 exposures or samples, and I can beat myself up because I'm like, where's my 30% conversion rate that we talk about? But I'm not there. I'm not asking those questions. What I'm focused on is doing the highest paying activity, knowing that out of the most important laws in our industry, number one is exposure is everything. Number two, fortune is in the follow-up. So the more optimistic you are about your business, the more energy you're going to have, but more also, this is a big part, the more sustained energy you're going to have going forward. How many of you feel after being plugged in at this recent Get Real event, like you're on fire, you're excited, nothing can stop you, like you could run through a brick wall, right? The train is moving. I can assure you I feel the same exact way, but what you need is to realize that muscle is what you build the more you plug into these events. So that's the energy to march forward in. A big part about optimism is smiling. It takes 17 muscles in your face to smile, whereas it takes 43 muscles in your face to frown. It requires more work to frown. But how can we show up in our business when we're getting on the phone with the prospect with the biggest smile on our face, knowing that that's going to communicate through? How do we send a voice message? How do we send a video message? How do we get on that Facebook Live and make sure that we portray that smile? Because it is so much more effective to communicate that energy and to have people will read confidence when they see a smile. You actually raise the other person's self-esteem when they see you smiling at them. And what I want you to know is that if there's any fears that you have in your business, anything that's holding you back from going out there and taking action, realize that fear is just made up in the mind. Infants don't really come into the world with any fears at all. I've heard sometimes people say the fear of falling of that nature. So, somebody can correct me at some point if that's right or wrong, but infants are completely unafraid and honestly very spontaneous from what I've learned. And almost every fear that a person has as an adult is what gets taught to them through their childhood, through what they're watching, through what they're learning from the ones they're around, from what they're getting from school. And a lot of times, I know in my case, a lot of my, I guess you could say, fear kind of came in from constructive criticism that I would get from people. So how do we shift that in ourselves and realize that when we're building a team of people, we're going to have people who have never done this before, and we need to be a little patient. We need to have a little grace, but we also need to understand that they might not have the same wants, the same desires that you and I have. So some people are getting started because they want to get that product for free. The first and most important thing that any of us need to do is to immediately take action and to help them do that. The thing that I always have ringing through my head when it comes to action is that successful people do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. Understand that success is hard work, and success in this business is going to require a little bit of a sacrifice period from you. Every day may feel like a little bit of a test, and the person that can answer whether you pass that test or not is the person that looks back at you in the mirror. Some of you are telling me that you want to recruit, but the question is are you doing the activities that you would want to recruit a team of people and have them do as well? I can assure you that success is available to all of us. And I have nothing more than to help every single person on this call who has the desire to become a top income earner, to achieve your car, to become a 6 or 7 figure earner. I will do everything within my power to help you do that. It's not going to be easy, but I assure you it's absolutely available to you. The one thing that you and I have control over is what Mark Cuban says, and that is our effort. So in any moment of decision, the best thing to do, is the right thing to do. You have everything from mindset to action steps. I can assure you the thing that's going to be holding you back from where you are to where you want to be is going out there and taking action. I'm so proud of all of you guys for showing up, and don't hesitate to reach out if there's anything that I can do to support you. Bye, everybody.